and welcome to your wrist mobility slash terrible exercise thingy. For this, we're going to need your soft, squishy ball. If you don't have one, a stress ball will work, or you can take a kind of a longer sock and then fold it into itself until it makes a ball. We basically just need something squishy that we can grab onto. We're going to start with one arm at a time. You can sit anywhere. I'm sitting on the ground, but you can sit wherever. We're going to have our one arm holding the arm that's going to be working so that we're not going to pivot from our elbow and our wrist, or really from our elbow, which tends to be what happens when we're trying to exercise our wrists. So here, we're going to take this ball, we're going to set it into our palm. Holding your arm so it won't move, you're going to take this hand, you're going to squeeze it. All of your fingers and your thumb are going to squeeze into this ball, and we're just going to hold and release. And we're just going to squeeze, release just a few times. And while you do this, I want you to pay attention to what you feel working. Maybe that's anything that's painful, anything that's sensation. If you feel like kind of weak today, if you feel pretty good. So we're going to do one more squeeze. Now this is where it's going to get tricky. We're going to go ahead and squeeze, and then we're going to add a circle with our fist, keeping the fingers really tight, the fingers squeezing. We're going to see if we can draw a circle in the air with our knuckles. This is where it's really important to have a grip on your forearm, because it's easy to just have this happen at your forearm, and then you never actually get to rehab your wrist, which is the tedious, boring thing that we're trying to do today. So that squeeze and circle, going nice and slow here. And you might notice that there's some parts where it kind of stops and goes, and if so, great. That's where we're trying to pay attention to. That's going to be one of those areas that's probably making your wrist feel a little bit cranky. So we're going to move nice and slow through that area, even though I know it's boring and stupid and you don't want to do it. Let's go ahead and finish this circle. And then we're going to change direction. We usually have one way that feels a little bit better. So if this is feeling a little worse, a little creakier, don't worry. That's life. Go ahead and make sure that you're not starting to use your elbow now that you're not thinking about it. And if this is getting to a place where it, like maybe in part of there where it gets like that, where your wrist gets kind of tight and it starts to hurt, if it gets painful, let up on this squeeze a little bit. So not necessarily all the way. We still want to keep a little tension here, but you can make this grip on this ball a little bit looser so that your wrist isn't quite so tight, and that'll make it feel a little bit better. Let's go ahead and finish this circle. One more for me because I went way too fast in that part where I'm sticky. There we go. And then release. All right, good. Go ahead and shake that hand out. We're going to switch over to the other side. Grabbing onto your forearm, a little bit under your wrist. Go ahead and press your fingers into that ball. We're going to squeeze and release. Squeeze, release. Just checking in with our hands, seeing how it feels. Seeing if any of our fingers have any complaints they'd like to voice now before we start doing things that are more intense. If you do notice that any fingers are kind of complaining or anything's feeling crunchy or painful, say it's your index finger, you can go ahead and give it a break and just squeeze with the rest of the fingers. If this is feeling kind of painful, whether that's arthritis, trigger finger, just a day, I don't care. Just give yourself the room that you need. We want this to be challenging, maybe a little uncomfortable, but nothing should be painful. If it's painful, we need to modify out of it. Go ahead and take one last squeeze and go ahead and get set up for your ball circles. So we're going to add that squeeze. We're going to grab our forearm right underneath our wrist so we can't twist and pivot from our elbow. We're going to squeeze. You're going to draw a circle in the air with your knuckles, trying to have all this motion come from your wrist joint. Remembering that if this is feeling crunchy, you don't love it, you're not having a great time, release some of the tension on your fingers. Again, not all the way. We can cheat this by just kind of hanging out and you're like, wow, look, it's so easy. And then we're not spending the time that we need to spend to help this wrist to get stronger. That's what we're trying to do here. So give yourself enough tension that you feel some work, but not so much that you feel pain. There might be some spots in that circle where your fingers really want to release. That's okay. Just notice it. Keep as much tension going into the ball as you can, whatever that looks like. We'll finish this circle and then we'll go the other direction. Taking your time. One way usually feels better than the other. I found my herky-jerky spot right here. So I'm going to slow down and try not to hurry through it. Very nice. Making sure that you're keeping that grip on your forearm. You're not letting it escape from you and roll around willy-nilly. Let's go ahead and do one more circle. For real this time, if I don't rush through it. There we go. Very nice. All right, go ahead and release that. That is a weird amount of brain work. So if you're feeling a little bit like strange, welcome to trying to coordinate things like this. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and give our hands a little bit of reward. So you're going to go ahead and take one hand, you're going to face your palm up, kind of like this, I don't know. And then you're going to go ahead and take your fingers, you're going to just dig them into the base of your thumb here, giving yourself a little massage. Maybe you draw a little bit of a circle here. Maybe you even kind of grab with your thumb on the other side of the webbing of your hand, just kind of rock and roll around. Just see if your thumb feels tight. It's really easy to forget about stretching our thumb. Like, when was the last time you stretched your thumb? Probably last time you did this video if you're doing this more than once. And just see if there's anything tight in there that needs a little extra attention. If that's feeling like a lot on your fingers, you can go ahead and take your knuckles and go into your hand. And finish up here. And then we'll switch to the other side. So same thing, palm is going to be up with your thumb kind of facing toward your midline. So you can grab with your fingers, maybe pressing into the heel of your hand. My right thumb tends to be a little tighter because I'm right-handed. So if that's what you're noticing right now, welcome to the club. You can take those knuckles in. The first two knuckles of your hand can massage into your thumb if that feels better. I like it because it doesn't make my fingers hurt quite so much. And then nice and slow, just finding any tight spots. You don't have to press into this as hard as you can. Just give yourself a chance to find out if something is tight. And then you're going to go ahead and just investigate. Maybe you take your thumb to the back webbing of your hand, just kind of massage that area. Very nice. Go ahead and release that. Now we're going to go ahead and stretch out our thumb that we've massaged. So go ahead, and I'm sitting here, so that might be a little confusing, but you can just have your hands up, palms facing each other. Take your fingers, first two fingers, you're going to catch your thumb and then pull it back nice and gently. If you want a little bit more, you can straighten your hand, or sorry, straighten your arm. Straighten your hand, she says, if that feels better. This is a pretty small muscle, so we don't need to pull on it really hard. We just want to get a stretch that feels good, but doesn't hurt. And then when you're ready, you can release that. We're going to go to the other side. Little stretch, little wiggle. You can straighten your arm or not. And then when you're ready, we'll release. Take your hands out. And now we're going to go ahead and pay attention to our forearm, which never gets any love. So today is the day. You're going to go ahead and start with a massage first. So we're actually going to take our hands. You're going to put your fingers on the first knuckle of your hand. And then you're just going to use that to run your hand down run your fingers down your wrist, down to your forearm, this kind of meaty part of your arm. So here, we're just going to try and find any spot in here that feels a little bit tight. So you can grab, you can use your thumb, you can use your knuckles. Just kind of see if anything in here needs a little bit of attention. Most of the time, it's going to be our grabbing muscles that connect to our thumb and our index finger. So that's why we kind of start at our index finger. We draw that down. This meaty area down here tends to be pretty tight. So that's a good place to start. If that's you, fantastic. If that's not you, make an exploratory mission over your forearm and see if you can find somewhere tight. You might notice that you're kind of marionetting your fingers as you rub. That's because your body works with levers and it's super weird. All right, go ahead and let that go. Let's go ahead and massage the other side. So same thing, fingertips start on your index finger knuckle, run your fingers down your wrist, down to your forearm, down to this meaty part of your arm here. It's connected, weird, that's fun. And then go ahead and give yourself a little massage. If you find any tight spots, if you realize that maybe your knuckles feel a little bit better to use, you find to really work out those tight areas. And similar to everything, we don't want to feel pain, but we do want to feel work. So if you're feeling like you're getting some muscle soreness, that's good. If you're feeling like you're getting any pain, that's not so good. So you'd want to back off a little bit. Either reduce the amount of pressure that you're putting on your arm, or maybe changing how much you're pressing or the area that you're pressing on. Let's go ahead and finish up this side and release. Last thing we're going to do is stretch out our forearms now that we've massaged them. So you're going to go ahead and take your hand and put it out in front of you like somebody's going to catch your hand and kiss it. Then you're going to go ahead and grab your hand with your other hand. I'll do this kind of like you're crossing your wrists, yes? Then the hand that's on top is going to grab and tug. This is a weird one, so, practice abounds. Take your hands, floppy wrists, grab the top hand grabs your bottom hand, and then we're going to do a little pull and twist. So you can also grab it like this if that makes more sense. Sometimes I like this little push. If this is a hard reach, bend your elbows and get them closer to you. I kind of like this one because I get a little bit more control over how much I'm pulling on my wrist. But if you're just like, what in the absolute hell are you doing, woman? Go ahead, cup your hand around like this and pull like that. And then once you find a stretch in your forearm, you can hang out there. If it's too intense, you can kind of rock back and forth. Find the stretch, move away from the stretch, find the stretch, move away from the stretch, just making it doable. Perfect. Go ahead and shake it out. Now we're going to go ahead and do the other side. So whichever version you want to get you into this. You can put your hand out, flop the other hand on top of it. We grab, we tug. We can also cup our hand around this way from our midline and then move like this. I like this pull though, so I'm going to do this. Then it's helpful too, as you're doing this, to think about pulling your wrist down as well as over. So I'm kind of pushing and then moving into that little stretch here. Now I'm moving my hand quite a bit because I'm pretty flexible here, but if you're having a little bit less success with that and your range of motion is pretty small, that's totally okay. Let's go ahead and have another little stretch, and then we'll release. Shake it out. Interlace your fingers, roll your wrists out just a little bit. Very nice. And just like that, you are all set. Good job. Thanks for being here.